What's going on, Spittin Chiclets fans? Biz here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the ECHL Player Relief Fund interview series. And this one is brought to you by Can-I Brands, who is supporting your everyday health and wellness through their CBD products. Not only does Can-I Brands make product that personally helped me, but they have kindly donated $10,000 to the ECHL Player Relief Fund and will also be donating 10% of all sales through our channels to the ECHL Player Relief Fund using the BIZ30 promo code. That gives you a 30% discount on products across the entire website. And if you want to put more money in your pocket, head to canibrands.com and check out the Champions program under the Ambassadors tab. We know times are not easy right now, so we're trying to give you guys as much content as we can. So we hope you enjoy this interview. And please stay safe. And once again, thank you to Can-I Brands.
Well, our next guest, he doesn't have the biggest resume we've ever had, but it's certainly impressive as hell. He came out of seemingly nowhere last year, had an unreal run with the St. Louis Blues, won the Stanley Cup, had ice water in his veins all playoffs. He was second in the Calder Trophy voting. This season, he made the All-Star team. He's going to be playing in front of his hometown crowd this weekend, St. Louis. Welcome to the podcast, Jordan Binnington.
Thank you for having me, boys.
Hey, as Mikey Grinelli told me, we finally got it lined up. We sent him a text and said, hey, we'd love to have you on in St. Louis, congrats on the All-Star game. And all he wrote back was, about fucking time. So he knew. This is long overdue, I think he said.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I knew
love
the day
it.
would come. I was just waiting for the right time. You know, it's a perfect scene here.
Just had to get that cup under the belt first, right?
Yeah.
So like I just talked to you a minute ago, what's this like last year been for you? I mean, you were playing in the minors last year. The Blues were in the dumps, 300-1 to win the cup, and now here you are, Stanley Cup winner, All-Star game. Everybody knows who you are. What's like? Do you ever like pause and think, holy shit, man, my life's wild?
Yeah, it just happens sometimes. You know, if I'm out for a drive and the music's going and you're feeling the beats a little bit. Other than that, I just kind of keep going at it and keep looking for more, kind of.
And there's some guy outside with his phone looking for a picture.
Yeah.
How did that transpire? Tell us that story.
Oh, on the highway there?
Yeah.
You actually brought him to a game this year, didn't you?
Yeah. So I ended up bringing him to a game. So I was just driving to the rink, and there's a ramp. Am I good here?
Yeah.
There's a ramp on the highway that like it's always lined up for a mile or two. Like if you get stuck in the back, you're toast. You know. So I always try to sneak in at the front. And then there's like a secondary route if you can't squeeze in. You know, if you don't want to press your luck, you just take the easy way. But I cut in, so I cut in last second, and then I see the guy in front of me, he's looking in the rearview mirror, and he's like, "Yo," "Are you the guy?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, is he pissed at me for cutting in? And then all of a sudden his door opens, and I'm like, "Oh, like what's going on here?" Then he like comes over and he's like, "Yo, you the guy? You that guy?" And I'm like, yeah, man, like what's going on? And then we just dabbed up and kind of just went from there. But it was cool, man. And then he hit me up. I was hoping he would, because I knew he was Snapchatting it. So I was like, I hope this guy hits me up online so I can see the video. Because I told my girlfriend, like, you know, it's a pretty funny clip. And then he ended up sending it to me, and then I brought him to a game, his first ever hockey game. And he's a funny guy, yeah.
Is he in love with the game now? Is he like a full-fledged fan?
I don't know about that, but
he's in love with Benner.
Mind the free tickets.
He's looking for some All-Star tickets.
Hey, you know, I always say, because I'll do that move too. You know, you can see getting off the exit, it's like a mile of traffic, so you go to the very end and cut someone off. So all I do is I go up to the end, and first woman I see, I cut off, because a woman's less likely to like shoot you from
good call, man.
So road rage. So always do that. Cut off women. No offense,
and then
ladies.
you put up the hand.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm that guy.
Yeah, they're not going to kind of kick the shit out of you. So.
We talked about coming up through the minors, and I'm sure some difficult times for you, thinking am I ever going to get to the National Hockey League? We heard a story at dinner last night about the fact that you actually wore your Providence Bruins gitch, which is like the underwear that you guys wear under your gear, during the entire season and run last year.
Yeah, that's kind of a side story that no one really knew about. Then after Game 7, I geared down and I kind of just like showed the equipment guy, and then he told someone with the NHL, and kind of escalated from there. But yeah, the year in Providence, I don't know if we're going to get right into that. But
I would like to just get the backstory on how like getting loaned out works and shit like that, because so many people have no clue how you'd end up there.
Yeah, so basically St. Louis didn't have a AHL team, and that summer we knew that, and they joined teams with San Antonio, splitting with Colorado, and we were kind of like they qualified me, which we weren't sure if they're going to qualify me or not. And from there, it's just I was like, okay, well, where am I going to play? And my agent's like, I don't know, we'll figure it out, I guess. And he wasn't happy and went to camp, did the whole training camp, and then I was like the last goalie there. And I think they were just looking for a spot for me. And they were calling. I know they were working to get me on a team, but nothing was coming up. And then...
are you like a little panicky at this time? Or you just
no,
like,
I'm chilling because I'm getting paid no matter what.
Yeah, true.
So,
There you go.
so I knew. I mean, it's minor league money, which is whatever. But I knew that because I talked to my agent before, and he gave me the rundown. And he's like, yeah, if they try to send you down to the East Coast, you don't have to go. Like they can only send you to the AHL. And so I'm getting sent down, and I go into the coach's office, and I think it was Mike Yo, I don't know, and someone else, and they're like, so we're going to send you down to Tulsa. We talked to the coach. The coach is a great guy, and, we got it all set up for you. And then in the meeting, so I was like sitting like this, and then he told me that, and I was like, and then he keeps going, and I finished the meeting, and
You're
I'm
slouching
like,
more and more.
I'm swallowing my words. Because we can go back in the story, but like I had some fire in me from 2 years before from what went down.
Yep.
And basically, I left the room, and then Marty Brodeur, who's like new in the management role, comes up and he's talking to me, and he's like, "Hey, so Binner, like I talked to him. He's a great guy." And I was like, "Listen, Marty, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm not going." And he's like, "Well, he's like, I think you have to go." And
you're saying this to Martin Brodeur. You had enough.
You know what?
Give a shit.
This guy, I don't want to get into it, but great guy, great goaltender. But I was called up a couple years before. He came out of the chilling at home to take my spot, took my number. Then this guy sending me down to the Cheddar. So I was like,
I ain't doing it.
So I was like, no. But he's a great guy. Like we have a great relationship still. But from there, I said no. They didn't really know what to do. They went and talked to someone, because they probably expected me to go.
Did they know that you didn't have to? I wonder. I mean,
man, it was a really funny scene, but I don't want to get into it on here.
Is that out of character for you, or had you just been so fed up because you knew that you had it in you, and you felt like you were getting dicked around and nobody was taking you seriously? And no offense to Marty Brodeur, he's a legendary goalie, Hockey Hall of Famer, but you at that point were just like, yo, fuck it. I'm sick and tired of this bullshit.
Well, that's where the year in Providence was huge for me, because I went there and I kind of got my new respect level back, whereas it kind of got stale in St. Louis. The one I've had in like junior, and then like when I first got to pro, I went to Providence, and like Boston was just, it was a well-run organization, and like their management was talking to me. The coaching staff was great, and I got that new respect, and it kind of instilled more belief in me to kind of keep my head down and saying you're doing the right thing, you're in the right direction. So then I had that belief to where I was confident enough to be like, no, like I know I'm better than that. I know I'm going to play somewhere.
Did you think if maybe things didn't work out in St. Louis that Boston would have been your next location just because of how you'd played for their AHL team?
Potentially. There was potential there, but maybe some talks about after you're a free agent, maybe we'll see.
I'm
where
pretty
we're
sure
at, both
Boston
sides.
tried to trade for you for the guy that you were splitting time with in Providence.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know if that's.
I'm
that's
pretty
fully
sure
true,
that's
but-
We're sticking with that narrative and that rumor. So just let's keep it going here.
Yeah,
Okay?
I
Sounds
don't
a
want to
lot
say
cooler.
too much here. I'm trying to keep.
No,
it between the
you're
lines.
doing great. But the thing I think you say that makes so much sense is it was finally getting like your bosses to give you some respect. And at the time, your bosses aren't technically in Providence because they're not paying you, but they're still your coaching staff. And you're like, dude, I finally feel good about myself again. Because as much as you tell yourself, you need somebody else to tell you once in a while.
For sure. And that was huge for me. And the outlook, and then the numbers were doing well. The record was good. And so they were happy with wins, like any organization. If you're winning for them, everything's smooth. So that was great for me. And it was just the story is really wild to me. Just the learning experiences and the built up, animosity that I used as kind of fire to drive myself is when I think about that, it's pretty good feeling.
Well, I mean, let's go there, and you're not shy to talk about the dark side, because it did, and at one point you didn't feel like anyone believed in you, and sometimes you end up going the other way. I know you spent some time in Chicago, and at one point you were so fed up, and I'll let you take over from here about the story when you ended up leaving for what, 24 or 48 hours.
Little trip, yeah. So I feel like it's okay to tell the story now. It's been a long time, and so basically, when I was in Chicago Wolves, it was my 3rd year there.
That's when I had been in camp with you that year.
Yeah, I saw you guys. By the way, I remember you guys came in, and I just remember Biz walking around the room, and he goes, "Where's Whit? I heard this guy's such a fucking beauty," or like, "I know this guy's a beauty," and he was looking for you, and now you guys are doing this. Yeah. So it was so funny. But
that was like when I heard he was gonna be there, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I got a running mate in camp.
You guys were rolling together that week, eh?
That's where the
Sorry
idea
to
for this
interrupt you.
podcast.
Sorry
But
to
let's get
interrupt you.
back to the Chicago thing, because I think people really need to hear the story.
Okay, so we had we were in Chicago. Craig Berube was the coach, and I was the starter. I was the first guy that year, but I could feel the tension coming. They were kind of moving on, and you know when things get stale, and you kind of feel. I could feel it. I trust my intuition a lot, and that was a time where I was like. So then we were doing all right. We were in a playoff spot, but we probably could have been doing better. I probably could have been doing better. I could have for sure, and I think it was. So this moment was so pivotal for me to learn that experience and realize that it can change so quickly. And so we were playing. It was the game before Christmas, I think, and I was the starter at that point. And so I don't know what happened. I might have pulled the game before or something, and then the next game, the guy who was playing, Phoenix Copley, beauty, great guy,
yes, great
goaltender. He's gonna be around, and he was starting, and it was 1-0 in Rockford. So it's in Rockford, 1-0. They got great hot dogs there. So second period, I have my buddy Scooter Vaughn, huge beauty also. He runs up, grabs me a dog. And in Rockford, you sit in the corner, not on the bench, so you could
crush a dog.
So I went back to the room for 2 minutes. It's 1-0. A couple minutes in the second period, slam a hot dog, and then I go back and I sit in the chair and I'm just watching. My hat's like whatever. Next thing they score, so it's 1-1, and I'm like, all right, like it's fine, 2-1. And then I see my buddy Bryce Gervais, another beauty. So I'm gonna keep name dropping.
I love it.
He comes over and he's using the toe of his stick and he's like, "Hey, you're going in," and I'm like. All right, like where's my bucket? I don't know. So I grab my bucket.
There's a hot dog wrapper in it.
Go in, first 2 shots, 2 goals. And then, so it was 2-1. I let in 2, finish the game. It's like, I let in 4 total, but then the game was over. The boys are taking penalties. It's like 2 back-to-back 5-on-3s. I'm so fed up inside with the situation that's going on, and I can feel what this, the outside noise with the whole business part of it, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna kill this 5-on-3 penalty, and I'm gonna do something, like, because sometimes I like lose it.
You
on
snap.
the ice. I snap, and I like that. I like
That's what
guys
makes
with
you who
fire.
you are.
Thanks, Whit. I like guys with fire, that can just snap, and they're totally different on the ice. So yeah, that happened. It was PC Labrie. So we kill the penalty, and then I like cover the puck, and then he's like in the crease, and I have like the end of my stick. And I just slapped him with my blade, like right in the cheek. And then I got no penalty, but the ref was right there, and he's just like, "Hey, like watch your stick." And then I was like, "Okay," so that didn't work. And then he ends up getting in a scrum in the other end, and then he's getting kicked out of the game, and he has to come by my crease to go off the ice. And I'm like, I don't even know what I said. It was probably pathetic. I was just like, "See ya, bud," Yeah. And then he's just like, "What?"
You blacked out.
He's like, "What?" And he just comes over, and then we like start going at it through the linesman. And then next thing I know, I like look up the ice, and all 9 skaters are coming down.
Here we go.
So I was like, all right, it's on. So then, so now someone else is fighting PC Labrie, because he's out of my weight class for sure.
Yeah.
So then I like get out of that, and I just like toss my stuff, and I go at the other goalie, and he's like not having any of it. So then
Who
I'm
was
like,
that goalie? You
I don't remember. He's a European guy, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. So the fans in Rockford, I think it's like if you score 7 goals, you get free hot hamburgers or something. So I was like going around the glass, and I'm like, "No free hamburgers, you cheap fuck!" Like I was like just putting on a show, right? It's an entertainment business. So when things aren't going well, you got to make an impact, please the fans a little bit. So that's kind of
Make it a show.
Make it a show.
How
right?
is Berube feeling about that?
So then, that's not even the original story. So then I talked to Chief a couple days later. He's like, "Yeah, you don't gotta do that shit. You know, like you don't need to do that stuff."
You're the
And I'm
goalie,
like-
bro.
I'm like, "Yeah, I was just caught up. It was emotional, whatever." And then I ended up getting suspended for the stick slap. So
No penalty in front of the ref, but get a sussy.
Yeah. So I get suspended for a game. So they call up the other goalie, and then the team goes on an 8-game winning streak. I don't see that. I've never been healthy scratched in my career. So I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like, it's going downhill. And I'm like,
Started a third string quick.
I need a sip here.
Get in there.
Hey, remembering this is crazy though, because where it all is now, it's like wild. This isn't that long ago.
Man, you gotta let me talk here. What this is getting deeper. So we're 8-game winning streak, and a guy is hurt. Jordan Caron. He was with Boston.
Yeah.
He broke his hand. He had surgery. But we were doing the superstitious thing where he would read the lineup before every game because the team was on a winning streak. But then he got hurt. So then he still like came to the rink and read the lineup. So so it's the 8th game. They won 8. So they won 8 in a row. And then we play in Rockford again, but it's a Sunday, and it was the end of a 3-3, and we have the day off the next day. So I'm like, man, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, I got to just blow it up. I got to just lose it and come back and feel refreshed. You know what I mean? So he agrees with me. It's like Saturday night, and we don't have to go on the road, but we have to go to the rink in the morning for the workout. So I like wake up in the morning. He was dating a girl. I don't know if he wants me to say it, but he was dating Jeannie Bouchard, the tennis player.
Yeah.
And I was single at the time, and I woke up at like 6, 7 or 8 a.m. and I got a text, and she booked our flights for us. Like, she got us tickets to Cirque du Soleil. Like, it was a smooth trip layout. And so basically I wake up and I'm like, fuck, all right, I guess I'm going. So I pack a bag, I go to the rink, and only me and him know. I have a roommate, Jordan Schmaltz, who needs to come on this podcast at one point. He's hilarious.
His brother plays with the Coyotes.
Yeah, beauty. But so we go to the rink, and the whole team's there. They do like their meeting video before they go on the road, and we're there and we like do the video. But we were just in the gym and we're working out, and we're like, the beats are going, you know, because we planned a trip to Vegas. so we ended up
Gotta get jacked.
Yeah. So we ended up going. So they left for the rink, or they left for the game, and Jordan Caron was still doing the lineups. So they were like, hey, can you film yourself reading the lineups that will play it in the room for the boys on the projector? So before we leave for the airport, I videotaped this guy, and he's like, all right, starting tonight, you know, we got blah, 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 blah. And he's trying to get the boys going, you know? And then he's like, all right, you send it into the coach. And I'm like, okay. And I had this coach in junior. So I had his old number. So we ended up going to the airport. We're in the air. We got Wi-Fi. And he's like, yo, Chucker's texting me for the video. And I'm like, what do you mean? I just sent it to him. And then he's like, no, that's his old number, I guess. So we're in the air, and I'm like, fuck, we got to get this video.
Yeah, you're gonna lose.
Because we didn't want to tell anyone that we were doing this trip too. And they're like, why can't you send the video? And I'm like, I'm on Wi-Fi in the sky. Like, I don't have enough.
Going to Vegas.
I don't have enough service for it, you know? Or whatever. So then they don't get the video.
Tell me they lose.
They lose.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
We land in Vegas. We go 36 hours. We come home. I come home on a red eye. I got into my bed pretty late, and then just go right to practice. My roommate, I didn't tell him. He's like, Finner, like, where are you? What's going on? You haven't been home in like a day and a half. And then so I end up telling him like halfway through. I sent him a snap out of like Caesar's Palace or something. He's like, what's going on?
You're in Vegas?
Yeah, but yeah, so that's pretty much the story. Then we went back, and that was I was telling you, it was so pivotal for me because I really just let myself go and came back, and I was like, all right, time to work. And you know what's crazy is so then I took like a selfie, and I was like, all right, comeback story begins. And it was 3 years. So It was a year later, no, 2 years later to my first start. So I'm going to the rink for my first start in Philly, and I'm looking at my Snapchat memories, and it's like me in Vegas, and then it's like, all right, now we go. And I really just put my head down, and I just fucking worked, and I believed in myself, and like was surrounded by good mentors in Toronto area, and you know, got good goalie coaches in St. Louis who, you know, the minor league guy Dave Rogalski really believed in me, and he was good, and it just escalated from there, man. And it's a crazy story behind the scenes, and I put a lot of, you know, it seems like an out of nowhere story, but there was a lot of buildup and experiences, and just even you know.
No, I was just gonna say that you're basically the biggest was it proponent or a fan of proponent? Is that the word I'm thinking of?
Well, proponent can't be a fan.
Okay,
Yep,
he's the
yep.
biggest proponent of the bye week in NHL player history. This guy lives for his bye week. But I think you just saying that as you came out of nowhere to most hockey fans, and your whole point is there was a lot of shit before it that you don't know. It might seem like that to you, but this was my life for 4 years, and it was a grind.
Yeah, and I like, it was tough. There's a couple years where, you know, I was kind of like, what's next? There's no openings. No one's telling me anything. I guess I'm just going to keep getting by in the AHL and waiting. And then I kind of hit a moment where I was like, man, no one cares. No one fucking cares. And I remember I called...
It's a lonely feeling.
So that year I went where they had no team for me, and I went to Providence. I called Doug Armstrong in the summer in August, and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I'm coming. And so I started putting myself out there, because I knew I had to be bold, because I was in a spot where people, they didn't take you seriously, like you said. And I had to be bold, and I had to use the philosophy of squeaky wheel gets the oil. Like, so, and after the year in Providence, I was in San Antonio, and every single game, I would text my agent being like, this is what I'm doing. Find something for me. And I was putting up numbers, and I was like being bold to him and trying to get him to stick his neck out for me. Like, do something.
Yeah.
You know, like I've stayed quiet this whole time. Now it's time for me to make some noise. And then leads me to my next point, where I ended up texting like someone in management with St. Louis after a game. It was 1-1, and we went into to a shootout or overtime. I was like, if I win this game, I'm going home, and I'm texting the management guy. And it was Bill Armstrong. So I went home in my suit. I sat there, wrote out this long text message, basically telling him, because a couple years prior in Chicago, before I got taken out, he said, hey man, he's like, do you think you're ready to play in the NHL? And I was like, yeah, like I'm good. And he was like, well, there's going to be a spot opening up soon, so like, you know, be ready. And then I learned over my experience that I wasn't ready at all. I needed to learn so much more. And you think you're ready. There's plenty of guys in the minor leagues you think you're ready at so young, but you got to just let time go, and, you know, trust your instincts and see where it takes you. And so basically I sent a text. I said, hey man, I don't know if you remember this, but a couple years ago you asked me if I was ready to play in the NHL. I just want to let you know I'm ready. And then the next day I got called up.
Are you kidding me?
Holy fuck.
And it's just crazy, because they don't know. They have to put their neck on the line for you. So if you portray strong confidence and belief in yourself, it makes it easier for them to make a decision. So that happened, and then I was called up. I didn't play for 12 games, and then I kept telling them, like, I want to be part of the solution. Like, I know how to play this. I know how to play this role, but I know how to play the other role too. And
the team's losing, and you're like, dude, the confidence continues. Like, I can do this.
And then they put you in, and like they'll pull the other guy and put you in, and then you get scored on. And it's like, I'm a guy who I like to kind of control the game. Like, I like to feel out the whole game. I can't just hop in halfway. And well, you can. It's part of the job. But at that point, I would like to step in and just show what I can do. You know what I mean? So
something that went viral was when you got asked by the reporter, and then your comment was, do I look nervous? In that 2 years of preparation, did you gain so much strength mentally where you're like, no, this is what I've prepared for. I know I'm good, and that's why you're so confident hopping in?
Yeah, and it's also part of the entertainment aspect. Like, I like to have fun with it, and I knew I wanted to make kind of like a big statement that would make some noise.
Chestnut
Go
checkers.
viral a little.
Yeah, it's kind of methodical in a way, and it just blew up, and yeah, it went well.
But don't you? I think that you've made it clear, like you're kind of into your brand. I know that sounds like a little NBA-ish, but nowadays it's like you can realize what you can do by being out there more, by coming on with us. The way you're talking right now, I mean, it's like the career you have right now, for people to be able to see the other side of you, it's valuable. I sense that you believe that.
Yeah, I don't want to say I want to change the game, but like those are comments that you throw around with your buddies, and yeah, like we got a lot to us. We're funny people, and it's good to show your personality and not just be by the book. Like, just we're regular people,
Yeah.
and we've been through a lot, and I think this is a great way to really hear stories from past players. And I think current players like me, it's tough to say certain stories, and I'm trying to keep it in between.
Yeah,
I'm trying to keep it clean here,
You
but
can't.
How long before you thought that you had also the guys' confidence? Because I know you guys ended up going on that crazy win streak. At what point were guys coming up to you being like, "Man, this
ain't a fluke.
You're our guy."
it was just random times that you could sense it, right? And I was just so focused on myself and being there, just doing my role. Is just be there for the boys, be there if the boys need you, and just hold it down and have a presence. And over time, I don't know when a certain moment was, but it was a special year, and I'm so thankful with how it went, and it was great.
How was your relationship with Jake Allen? Because, I mean, you essentially come in and swipe his job from him. Did that affect you guys at all, or was he supporting you 100%?
No, he's honestly, like, since I was drafted, he was always just a genuine person, and he's a good leader for himself. He conducted himself well, and I remember I got called up a couple years ago when he took me to the Rams game, and we had a great day. It was a blast, and he was great last year, and he worked. He's such a hard worker. He's a great goalie. So we're pretty fortunate right now to have the boys' trust in both of us, and but he was great the whole time, and he was like, even just seeing him after we won the cup and just hugging him, it was you could feel it was real, and
Right.
he's just such a good Canadian boy, team first, and it made us successful.
Now, during the cup run, did you get nervous at all? I know you had a good quote for the media, but were there any times you kind of shit your pants a little during the cup run?
Not really. I mean, the biggest game for me was when all that stuff came out from my Twitter in the past, and then they dropped it. So that's a funny story. Well, not really a funny story, but so I shut my phone off. I went LeBron mode for playoffs. No social media.
Zero dark 50.
Turned it off at 10 o'clock p.m. And then at like midnight, I get a text from my girlfriend. And she's like, "Hey, did you turn off your Twitter too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And she's like, "No reason." And then a couple minutes later, she's like, "You might want to go on and delete some of your tweets." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then she was explaining to me, and I was like, "I don't think I trust myself to not go over the line." You know what? This brings me to my point about Biz, because my Twitter name is Bin Nasty. It's because I loved Biz when I was younger. Your tweets were so funny, man. Like,
Dude, he
not
was
younger, but
off the
I was
rails.
off
and
the
I
rails.
loved it. And I would like tell my dad about it. My dad's probably just like, "Why the fuck's he looking after this guy?" But
It's like, he's in the fourth line
Yeah.
and fights people.
but I
for
found
it.
your humor was so funny, and you were just being real, and you're like, people would chirp you on Twitter, and you would just hammer them right back. And I was like, I respect that. Like, have fun with it.
Yeah.
So then, I'm not saying you're my influence for the bad tweets. If you want to take blame, that's good.
I'll take the blame for you.
But yeah, thanks. But yeah, no hard feelings with that stuff, and
I shot it. I mean, that was a point in time where it's just like everybody was just trying to drag up people's past in order to gain any type of clout, and obviously your brand and name had popped off, and I just felt that guy doing it was just it was just slimy. There was no benefit in what he was doing, and
Yeah.
it was nice to see that it didn't end up affecting you, because we all know the story after that. I wanted to ask you about who mainly were the people that helped you and guided you for that 2 years in order to get where you got to.
Yeah, and that's a big question, because there's so many people, and it's almost like everything came together from since I was a kid to because I was in goalie school like 9 weeks of summer. My dad had me in goalie school 9 weeks of summer, every summer.
Really?
With the same goalie school, and then I switched to another goalie coach, and I learned a lot from him. So I've been with probably like five guys and different mentors, and I find it's important that you don't just stay with one person, because there's so much out there, and you can take little pieces from everyone you meet. And but the people who helped it really all come together was Matty Nickel and Andy Kyoto. Those guys were, out of Toronto. And
I played with Kyoto.
Did you?
Yep.
Chico?
Yep, Chico.
We're going to get him on the podcast. Very interesting.
He stole
guy.
Fleury's job one year in the minors, and actually it was the year of the lockout when the league was really good. He was incredible.
Yeah. He's a driven guy.
Yeah,
once
he is.
He's fun. Yeah, so he kind of taught me the philosophy of like preparation is confidence, and life's a movie you create. So on the back of my bucket, I have a video camera. So that's something you look at. Life's a movie you create. So every time I go on the ice, I'm like, all right, what are you creating? What's your story today? So that's kind of like
Wow.
my mentality. And yeah, he's been huge for me, and we have a great relationship. And Matty Nickel, he's taught me a lot, and he's really helped the
fitness
body.
and health, and just how to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
The mental aspect, we talk about him quite a bit on so would you say that you're a fairly emotional person? You wear your heart on your sleeve?
A little bit, but I'm also aware of, if I see red, I know the line, but I emotionally, I care about people a lot, and, I want to win for sure. I don't know.
That's what drives you.
I heard another interesting story last night was when
Who are
you
you
guys
talking to?
A lot of people do.
I'm
Don't
talking,
worry
buddy,
about it.
we're
We got
doing
sources
research.
about
Stitches
you.
get stitches.
We got
Yeah.
sources for you, Binnington.
So
Okay.
your father gets interviewed by Andy Strickland right after you guys win the Western Conference, and he's looking around and he's like, what's going on here? He's like, we haven't won shit yet. We won the Western Conference. Whoop-de-fucking-do. We still got another round to do. Do you have a very similar mindset to your old man? Did you guys talk about that interview after the Western Conference final?
That's exactly how my dad is. He's very like humble, doesn't say much, and just, results. And that's a funny interview, because I remember he pulled me aside and he like tried to one-on-one me. He's had a couple of vodkas, and he's like, I don't understand why everyone's so happy. Like, you haven't won anything, like exactly what you just said. And I'm like, yeah, but it's, it's the first time in a long time they've done it. And he's like, doesn't matter. Like, you got more to do. So I'd say my mindset, my self-discipline, which took time to learn, the self-discipline, is directly from him. And he's a solid human in my life.
Strickland was so funny. He's like, yeah, like Blues alumni are sitting there crying. First trip to the Cup Finals in 40 years, and the star goalie's dad's like, I don't fucking care. We got that cup to raise. I thought that was so funny last night. What about Game 7? Because we talked to Patrick Maroon yesterday. He was with Cam Jansen. It was funny, but he said that Chief's speech before was so simple and quick, and it was just like the boys were just like ready to go. There was no tenseness and like long pump up vibes given out by him.
No, I'm pretty sure it was like, boys, you played this game thousands of times in your head. Go out there and do it. Like something simple like that. And Chief is such a strong presence, and he's a huge part of the reason we were successful. And it was just a light vibe. And even the flight over to Boston, the boys were chilling. Like, because there was so much buzz about Game 6 winning at home. Like, we took a bus through the whole city, and everyone's out partying already, and then you got to go and kind of get it going, which is our job. But once we kind of got on the flight out, it was just like normal, like any other game that season that I was up there for. And we got good leaders for that, like Steiner and O'Reilly. Like they're solid when it comes to that stuff, just to set the tone and set the vibe and keep it loose. So I would say it's my answer to that.
Were you feeling bombarded in that first period? I think Boston outshot you like 20-3 at one point. Were you just like, all right, let's get out of this like 0-0 and we'll be all right here? What was your mentality in that first period?
Just compete.
Yeah.
Play free and compete and see what happens. And, the boys got a couple in that first period, which was huge. And, they threw a lot at us that first period. And after that, the boys kind of tightened it up, and rest is history, right?
Yeah, sure is. What did you do with your day with your cup?
I had
Send pictures of him with it to his old coaches saying, fuck you.
Yeah. Do I look like Tulsa?
We have to fucking talk about the Bieber stuff too. We haven't even mentioned that.
Yeah, when's that going down? Any dates? We're not getting the dates yet, are we?
there are no dates.
All right.
That guy's probably the busiest man in the world. So like I don't know when I'm gonna.
Yeah, but the thing about busy men and rich men, they'll make time for passions, and that dude loves hockey.
And he is passionate. And you know what's funny is, so I play with a guy in junior, Joey Hishin. He's a first rounder to Colorado Avalanche, and he's from Stratford. And unfortunately, got like some concussion issues along the way. And he's such a talented player. And I actually learned so much from just playing with that guy. He was a guy who, super nice dude, funny, like good humor. And then he puts his helmet on and like, don't fuck with him. And I respect people like that so much because you're out there, you know, that's your job.
Yep.
And I kind of learned that from him. But unfortunately, some stuff happened and he retired. And I don't know if it's unfortunate or not. Maybe he wanted to, but he opened up a hockey school in Stratford, which is where Bieber's from. So after this Bieber thing went down, I got Joey Hishin messaging me. He's like, Banner, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm going to have to follow the money here. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So Biebs DM'd Joey Hishin, and he flew Joey Hishin out to train him in LA. So he's training hard for this event. And I'm like,
Joey, what a time to retire, dude.
right? And it's so funny how the world circles back, and it's just, so I'm happy with how it went with that. And fuck, he's a funny guy.
What's he saying about the lessons? Like, is this guy just want power skating, stick handling? How does it go down?
Apparently, scouting report, he's working a lot on his slap shot from the slot. So
It's going to be harder than Biz in a month.
I don't know if you listen to the podcast much, but I mean, I don't mind Bieber's music, and I actually cried to his documentary. So I would love to meet the guy. I know have you ever watched his documentary?
Yeah.
Did you cry?
Yeah, it was pretty emotional. I don't know if I cried, but yeah. I know you want in on it though, Biz.
Well, I'd like to be there because I want to meet him. Maybe talk about doing some content together. You know,
Yeah.
Beeps, have you heard about Biz 20?
maybe we'll get a couple swipe ups for his new
Bieber's
song.
like,
Yummy.
like through
Yummy.
security's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Hitting that magic button under his chin.
So what's the bet exactly? He gets 10 breakaways. How many does he have to score? Just one?
Yeah, or it's just one right now.
And do you think he could get one on you, or no fucking
Man, it's
chance?
tough because sometimes with players who are kind of, you know,
Skate on their ankles.
not up to NHL speed, like sometimes they like, you know, it's knuckle puck or could slide in. So, you know, it's going to be an entertaining battle.
It's like playing poker with a guy who really doesn't know what he's doing.
I'm not sure what to predict, but apparently the slap shot's on the list.
my buddy who played hockey at like D3 hockey in college, but he was like good when you were little. He was like, I'll score on Fleury if I had 10 breakaways. I was like, there's no chance you would. So Fleury's like, I'll do it. Like, you know, captain's practice for the season.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So the kid goes out there, and Fleury's fucking around the first breakaway and like lets him score. I'm like, dude, Fleury, what the fuck? And he's like, all right. So he bears down, and then 2 through 9, and we're just like a joke. Like, this kid had zero chance. But on the 10th one, he's going so slow, and he makes a nice move to his backhand. It's like, it was too slow for Fleury. He slides it in 5-0, and he was trying. I was like, motherfucker, because that was the official loss. So there is a chance that like his lack of speed and velocity could screw you over.
It's real, man. It's real. So that's a nice story to hear in case it.
Yeah, I
one
just
goes
fucked
in.
you mentally because if Jack really could score, Bieber might be able to.
No, you can't fuck me mentally.
I like asking every time we have a goalie on. I like to ask, how'd you get started as a goaltender?
Story. Yeah, I asked my dad that one last year. I got asked like 20 times. Basically, I was a player, got cut from a team, went and tried out somewhere else, and they needed a goalie. I put on the gear, and then the story goes that the head coach, they were doing tryouts, and he just took a slap shot, hit me right in the head, and I didn't like move. And he just went over to my dad. He's like, he's on the team. So he's like,
your son's a lunatic, so we're gonna keep him in net.
Do I look concussed?
So you went a little bit Sidney Crosby on your NHL contract. Do you want to dive into that?
We talking about numbers?
We're talking numbers here, baby.
How did you hear that?
Oh, buddy, I fucking got my sources. Don't worry.
Yeah, I like numbers, man. You wanna know something crazy is, so I finally moved out of the hotel last year, and they put me in like a place with a kitchen after like a month, and the room the room number was 711, which is my birthday, and I was like, we're good. Like, I know what's up. Like, I use those signs, and it might be a Sidney Crosby thing, but number 50 is my number, and you know, it is what it is. This might be some goalie stuff, but
So on the contract you end up signing, you did what? You did, it's 8.8, but the numbers have to end in 50?
yeah. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I made them end in 50.
They're like, motherfucker, like, this is just causing somebody like another hour of paperwork.
They like
You were
couldn't sign another
4.4.
player because you're just being a weirdo about your superstition on your contract. As far as guys on the team, who's the guy that you hang around with the most off the ice, and why?
I lost some soldiers this year in Edmonton and Fabry, but we got a good group of guys, man. And everyone, like, you go out for dinner on the road and there's like 12 guys there since like 4 p.m. And, you know, it's a good time. So it's a big mixture, but, you know, Sanford's a good guy. And, so, you know, you get your mix. You go with the young guys, see what's going on in the nightclubs with Dunner, and then you go and you hang out
Holy shit, this guy must just wheel like crazy. He's a smoke.
He's a good-looking dude, eh? Yeah, he does well in
He's dressed as well. He seems
hype
like a guy who
beast.
just
He's
looks
clean,
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
a clean
clean.
cat.
listens to hip hop, you know, so he always tries to be dialed in all of his aspects of his life. But yeah, he's got some swagger and heck of a player too. So stud, right? That's the definition, pretty much.
Well, we talk about it quite a bit too, and the teams who bond the most are usually the teams that are the most successful. And I mean, you guys were probably the drunkest team in the league last year. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. You know, I'll talk about it.
We have a lot of fun, you know.
I don't know how to end that question. I just want to be these guys.
We do. We have a lot of fun, and we know when it's business too, right? Like, we know, and it's great. Everyone's in sync, and you know when we have to focus up, and when the time's right, we pick our spots well. But yeah, you know, we land, we get changed, we meet up, and then we go to dinner in like 5 hours.
So another story I heard was this year in Vancouver, you guys land. The bus pulls up to the hotel, and Berube says, "You guys got 15 minutes to get downstairs. We're all going to the Roxy."
Yeah, we went to the Roxy as a team.
Like that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, we won the cup. We're rolling this year. We're going to the Roxy, boys.
Yeah, I know. We keep it light, and but we got to earn it too, right? It's not just we're producing all at the same time, so that goes into it.
What are your other interests off the ice? Like, what? I mean, you mentioned music. What are you doing with your free time in the summer? I know you just went on vacation with the girls snowboarding somewhere.
Yeah, I went to Aspen. Aspen's what a town. Clean, safe, good people. But I like trips. Yeah, I like to
Did you
travel.
build any snowmen?
No snowman. But hit that Cloud 9. Have you ever been there?
No.
Biz, you got to go to Cloud 9, man.
I can't afford Aspen yet. I need that 8.8 contract to be going to Aspen. I'll stick to like.
There's no promo
Slide in
codes
with Larry
Aspen.
Flowers, man.
Okay, now
He's
gets
connected. He's well connected out there.
Yeah, they had a 6 out up. I saw that they were just out. Or no, they might have been in. They were in Tahoe. Fuck,
Yeah.
he's all
the
over
other
the
rich
place.
spot.
He's
Yeah.
all over the
Were
place.
you always a boarder, or did you ever ski before
No,
that?
I'm a skier, but you're not really allowed to ski under contract. So
Oh, that's right,
Yeah, I
too,
wasn't really
yeah.
hitting the slopes too
Unless
hard.
you're
Yeah.
Vladimir Malakov.
Someone-
Remember the defenseman for the Canadians who was out with a knee injury and they caught him at the ski mountain in Quebec?
No way.
There's a story
that? You can't.
there's a story about, I forget which Russian it was, but they were in Florida, and I think he said, "Hey, I got the flu," and he stayed back, didn't go to the practice, and they were driving back on the bus, and they saw him hand in hand on rollerblades on the boardwalk with some girl, and they're like, "Wait, is that such and such?" And they all turned. Luckily, the coach hadn't seen it, but one of those types of situations. When you talked about music, do you do the Boots and Hearts in near Toronto?
Yeah, big music festival guy. Concerts. You know, Toronto has so many concerts. But I just pretty much patrol King Street, and you know. But the last couple of years, I've kind of early on I had a lot of fun, and the last couple of years I've kind of figured out what my motivations are and what I need to do for that. So I just kind of hang around the city of Toronto and just hang out with buddies. Pretty
I
much.
was just gonna ask who's like the coolest person you've gotten to meet because of your celebrity status now and achieving what you've achieved.
Oh, man. John Hamm's around a lot. He's a super nice dude.
My co-star, not a big deal.
Already was in a movie scene with him.
This guy, man, so funny. But I would say when we went to the SB Awards, I got to shake up with Quavo and D Wade. So I was like, Dwayne Wade's, I fucking love athletes who are just so successful and driven and just dominate, and it's kind of, so I'd say he's up there for, and then the president's up there, but obviously people don't really like him. I'm Canadian, so I don't have any comment on it, but that's obviously some status.
Yeah.
John Him, he not joking aside, he is a great guy though, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's coming to town and we'll go have some beers, and he's just super cool, down to earth guy, and friendly to people who are coming up and talking to him. And at the awards actually, I actually got to gamble with him a little bit, and that was kind of a cool experience, And
Was he chucking around a lot of cash?
He was chucking around a lot of cash.
Good for him,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
He better be.
Get all that fucking Don Draper money.
A couple hundreds. Yeah.
Fuck, I mean, he came on with us. He interviewed with us. He was a great guy. Just die-hard blues fan.
He is a big blues fan. Yeah.
This
So he's
summer,
pumped.
were you thinking at any point long-term deal, or did you kind of know it was going to be shorter? I mean, what was the deal with kind of getting signed?
I wasn't sure. I was kind of waiting to hear what their side of it was, and then, that's what we came up with.
Yeah, 2 years, and then you just get paid.
Anything else you want to talk about specifically?
No, I mean maybe the cup party, the parade, the cup party. The parade was a blast, man. Like, we didn't really know what to expect, and we were out the whole night before, and you go in and you should see our team pictures that morning. Like,
Did you get your gear on? And
you
go
get
on
your
ice,
gear
right?
on, and everyone's like trying to sit up for the picture, and but it was so fun. Like, the whole city was having a blast, and it was going all night, all day, and then we went out, and then we hit the parade. You come outside, and there's, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people, and then after a couple of minutes, I was like, all right, like, maybe we got to get off these floats and interact a little bit. And then next thing we know, everyone's running around and getting interacting with the fans, and so I think it made it fun for everyone, and it's a really cool experience for the city of St. Louis, and for the boys, we will remember that forever. And then the cup party. I got to tell a story because me and my buddies, we throw one annual party a year. So it started because a couple years ago, I was called up for 2 weeks or something. And then we had All-Star break in the minors, and I went somewhere with another guy from the minors, and a couple buddies flew out, and we were going out, and it was a Monday night, and I was like, boys, like, I got it. Like, this night's on me.
It's going to cost $100.
I thought it was going to be like, maybe $1,500. We'll wake up in the morning, and I don't know what went down at this place, but something wasn't right. Woke up, found a receipt in my pocket for $7,500 American.
Fuck.
And I was I'm on a minor league salary. I got called up, and I'm like, boys, I don't know about this. Like,
What happened, boys?
I don't think I can eat all this, And then, so my one buddy who was in minors ended up paying me, and then my other buddy he owns a business in Toronto area, and he's like my longtime best buddy. He's like, man, I don't know if I can just hand you $2,000 cash. He's like, what if I just throw you a party? And then, because my birthday's in July, and I was like, all right, I'll take that deal. So we started this annual boat party in Toronto, and first year was small, but it was bumping, and then picked up a little bit the next year, grew more the third year, and this summer was our fourth annual.
And they had the cup.
And I was like, and we were playing the boat party, and I was like, boys, I get the cup on this day. Why don't we just do like a cup party? And then, so that party, that's how it originated. And I ended up, so in the finals, because I'm all about motivation, and I try to find consistent motivation, just chasing new things in short term. And in the finals, I had one bet. I was like, all right, if I win, I'm blowing the doors off of a cup party. Like, I gave myself a $50K budget.
Oh, fuck.
So that's my motive. I'm like, all right, like, you gotta, for the city of Toronto and your pals, like, get it going. And then the other one I did was one of my best buds, Flinner. He's loves his show, loves Wit.
Flinner,
he's gonna be pumped. Give him a shout out. He loves
Flinner,
it.
you're fucking awesome. I don't even know you. I love you. Any fan of me is I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
That boy, Wes.
And he's like, this guy, you know, he'll get a paycheck for $2,000 and you'll get like half a sleeve done. You know, he's like one of those guys. He's funny and good loyal soldier. And I said if I win, I'm gonna finish his sleeve for him. So I ended up finishing his sleeve for him, and I was like, don't maybe put my initials or something on it, but he ended up getting my face on it.
Oh, jeez.
Idiot, right? It's on there.
Flynn is
for
a
life.
sick prick.
And we'll battle sometimes every couple months, you know, when you get into it with one of your buddies.
Yes.
But we always come back.
I wish I never got you on my arm.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, what are you
So
going to say to
whack
me?
it
You
out.
got me on your arm, Flinny.
Yeah, that's it. So,
I even made your nose look better in my fucking tattoo, you piece of shit.
well, I got the cage on, man.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I made sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I got to do those two things, and that was kind of like my motivation, and then obviously winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Did you get any tattoos after you won the cup?
No, I got no tats.
None?
I'm in the angle of maybe it's cool down the road when you have no tats because everyone's getting tats.
Right.
Well, I'm in
Or
the,
you can get a
I'm,
scarecrow
listen, I'm
on
in the
your arm.
angle. I'm in the angle of all these idiots with tats when they're 77 years old and they get their wrinkly skin are gonna look so dumb, and I'm just gonna have my white, pale, milk body action with no stupid Halloween stickers like Biz or Chinese writing like somebody else.
It looks good.
That's
Well, I
my
have
no
both. I got that too, you asshole.
Basically, if you have tattoos, you got to stay in good shape, and I've never been in good shape.
Yeah, you're
so
right.
I'm not a tattoo guy.
You a big movie guy at all? Nah.
Not really.
I got actually one thing you told the Vegas story. What was the Cirque du Soleil show you went to?
Couldn't tell you.
He didn't even go.
I was going to say, does he
But-
remember?
No,
He
I
was
on
actually
stage.
in the show.
I was on stage.
Yeah, I did a couple splits for that. It was good.
Yeah, it's like the...
I thought when you were originally telling the story of going to Vegas that you guys flew out there and then sent the lineup announcement
like
from the
at
pool
the-
party.
No.
The coaches are like, "What the fuck?"
No, yeah.
That's an indoor pool
Get a
outside
couple
Chicago.
cocktail servers to do it with the cardboard cutout letters.
Well, Benner, honestly, I think that this has been not only informative for me. I can't imagine people at home getting to hear about what you went through to get where you did. So happy for you. Congratulations, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. We're in a good spot. You guys
Yeah,
are doing
fuck
great
yeah.
too. So
It's been a blast.
awesome.
Go Blues.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed that interview. And once again, thank you to Can I Brands for their support of the Spittin Chiclets podcast and the ECHL Player Relief Fund. Make sure to check out canibrands.com and enter promo code BIZ30 for 30% off all products site-wide. And as mentioned on previous interviews, if you guys want to head to the ECHL website and or social channels, there's a GoFundMe set up for the Player Relief Fund. And we wish them and all of you the best.